everyone. So this is our first coffee with coach for this summer camp. We're going to be going over run training and paces. I do have Kate with me. She's playing with her blocks over there. We'll see how long she lasts. I might have to excuse myself to go grab her and then she'll join us. So we'll see. She's okay right now. But great job to everyone that did their time trial either last night or this morning. There was a lot of really great efforts out there. I think a lot of you guys ran faster than you thought you were going to. So that's really cool to see. I'm working on getting your training paces in, and I will share the screen of my phone like I did for the welcome video to show you where you can find those and where to put your 1 mile time in if you haven't done that already. But really excited for this kickoff. We had like another 1 or 2 registrations last night. So we're up to 144, which is, it's really mind-blowing to me that this many people have trusted me and trusted the other coaches and pacers and Space Coast runners in New Wave with your training. So really excited for what we're able to accomplish over the next 7 weeks. Okay, so if you haven't done a camp with us before and you're not sure when I say easy, threshold, repetition, interval, and you see those words being thrown around and you see your paces on Friday with those words, that's what we're going to go over here is what do those paces mean and what can you expect through camp with using those paces. All right, so I first want to just say that I love this quote. Just get out the door. There are many days when I'm not motivated to go for a run. The secret isn't to try to find motivation. It's to put your shoes on and just start. And I think that's a really powerful message because we often put these even like elite runners or fast runners on this pedestal that they always want to get out and train. They're always motivated. And I know for myself, I love to run. And there are definitely days when I do not want to get up and run. Even yesterday morning, we had a workout with the group and I love the group that I work out with. They're so fun. We have a really great time. But overnight, Kate was up 12 to 2:30 and just irritable. She was up, she was down. So very little sleep. And then finally, when my alarm went off, I just did not want to get up and go. I was very close to just texting the workout because I always bring the workout. Just texting everyone the workout. Go ahead. I'll find a time later to easy run. I am just done. But I know how much better I feel afterwards. And as a mom, I never know if I'm going to find time later in the day to be able to run for an hour. So I was really glad I ended up going, but it was definitely one of those days where there was very low motivation till I got out there. And I think this is something that makes camp really special too, is those Tuesday or Wednesdays and the Sundays, we have this whole group for you guys to run with. So it makes you really accountable and it makes it a lot more enjoyable with that. As soon as all you have to do is put your shoes on and show up. And I guarantee that you'll start warming up, you'll start talking with people and you will not regret coming out. So just put your shoes on and just start. Okay, a couple of general training tips I want to go over just that we can use and implement throughout camp. One is start where you are, not where you want to be. I don't hear, hold on. Yeah, she is actually quite funny. So if I want to have a 5K PR, I can't be training at my 5K PR pace if my 1 mile time trial this week had my threshold 20 seconds slower than that. I wish I could, but if I train at my goal pace, then I'm going to be overreaching every training session. I'm likely going to be overtrained. I'm going to dig myself a hole. I might be injured or sick in the process. And especially with in Florida summer, it's warm, it's humid. We have to adjust paces anyway. But you need to train it where you are right now. And of course, the goal is through camp that your paces get faster, that threshold pace comes down 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and we're moving towards that goal. And this ties into that make a goal that's down here a little further on the bullets, that we want to have a North Star. What are we training for? What's motivating us to get out in the morning? What is our goal for camp? And that's why we ask it on the intake form and in Final Surge, that we have that to refer back to. But we need to train with where we are right now. So the paces that I put in are based on the 1 mile time trial that you ran. So whether you think they're too fast or too slow, it's just numbers. I don't make them up and pick them up out of thin air. It's just numbers and science to it. So we need to try to stick to those paces. Of course, there's going to be some days where you feel a little better, some days where you feel a little worse. As long as we're within 5-10 seconds of there, I'm fine with that. But don't go running your threshold pace 30 seconds faster because then we need to reassess. Like, what happened at mile time trial? Do we need to adjust your paces, or are you overreaching and overtraining for that? And the second one here, build over time at a reasonable rate. So we don't want to jump up in mileage too quickly from week to week. A general rule of thumb is 10% from 1 week to the other, and we don't want our long run to increase more than 10%. Now, there's no research that says that has to be the number that we follow or that you'll get hurt if you increase more than that. It's just kind of become just this general rule with runners. So if your mileage is a little lower, we can increase by more like that 15 to 20%, because going from 10 to 11, to 12.1 is going to take us a while to build. But obviously, if we're doing 80 miles a week on the other extreme, and we go from 80 to 88, we need to bring that percentage down a little bit. So just make sure that I'm looking at it every week as I build your program, but I also want you to take accountability with that. Look at your weekly mileage, and is this something that's gradually trending up by just a couple miles a week, that you don't see these big spikes? Because a lot of times after we see those big spikes, we see these big drops because, excuse me, because we end up being injured or sick. Third one is stress and stress. Whether that's emotional stress, physical stress from being out there running, mental stress, life stress, family stress, it's all stress, and our body releases stress hormones because of that stress. So take that into account. If you're just feeling off one day, think about, well, did I sleep enough last night? Did I have a really stressful, day at work? Are my kids sick at home? It can be a million different things. But just remember, stress is stress on the body, not just the physical stress of us being out there running. This ties into the fourth one there. Listen to your body. You know your body better. You know your body better than anyone else. So please listen to it. I can't feel what you're feeling. So you're going to have to let me know if you feel like we can push a little more, or we need to back off a little bit. And this even ties in the next one, that everyone's different. There might be days where you want to push and your running partner doesn't want to, or it's not most appropriate, and vice versa. There might be days where you're doing better at the shorter stuff, and your partner does better at the longer stuff. And that's fine. Everybody's going to absorb training at a different rate. So just keep that in mind, that just because your training partner did better than you on this one workout doesn't mean that you're not going to reach your goals, or that you're not going to get there, or that you're behind in any way. Everyone's different. Listen to your body. Again, even more so over the summer. It's warm, it's humid. We need to really listen to our body so we don't come into the fall when the weather starts to cool a little bit, and then we're just overcooked and we can't actually utilize all the training we've been doing this summer. Consistency is key. I've said this over and over. Let me grab a drink of water real quick. I apologize. Okay, I didn't want to just chug my coffee. Consistency is key. And I've said this over and over, but that's what's going to make us better over the long term. That there's no magic workout, no magic pace, just consistently get out the door. I don't need to say it again. I've said a billion times already, and we're only in like day 2 of camp. Make a goal. We touched on that. During camp, we are going to have some hard days. Like those Tuesday and Wednesday workouts are going to get tough. That's the whole point. My goal as a coach is to make you uncomfortable. It's to get you out of that comfort zone so that you achieve something that you've never been able to achieve before, that we're able to reach these goals. That means there's going to be some hard days. But really, most of the days during the week are going to be easy. We can't go out and run hard every day, or we will get hurt. We won't progress, etc. So most of the days are going to be easy, and it's going to be about just getting out the door. And we're going to be progressing week to week. So from a mileage standpoint and an intensity standpoint, it's not going to be these big jumps in training, because like I said, we want that to be at that reasonable rate, but we are going to be increasing week to week, both our volume and our intensity. So these are kind of the training phases. They're not as strictly built out for this camp, since we only have 7 weeks to do them. So it's not a very strict like base phase, build phase, performance phase, taper. And we're kind of touching on all of them. Again, just because of the weather in Florida, we can't do like some longer tempo type runs that we were able to do when it was cooler. So we got to get a little creative with training, but wanted to show this to you guys, if just so you kind of know the general structure, where we start with our build phase, establishing that consistency routine. We want to strengthen our muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones, which is also why strength is so important, to help strengthen those things. And then we're building on that base phase with some of the workouts after that, where we're doing a variety of paces, different intensities and distances, before we move into that performance phase of more 5K specific work as we get closer to race day. Here are the training paces. You'll see these in Final Surge on Friday, and we'll use them for our workouts moving forward on those Tuesday and Wednesday runs. We have easy. I use threshold and tempo interchangeably. Interval, repetition. Race pace we'll use a little bit. I don't give you a specific race pace, so that's more based upon feel or what your goal is. So easy runs, easy paces. The whole goal is to promote physiological benefits that build a strong base from which higher intensity training can be performed. So this is what most of your runs are going to be. They're 65 to 80% of your heart rate. They're very comfortable, conversational. You'll see that in the description in Final Surge, that you should be able to have a conversation if someone is running next to you without sentences being broken up, where you're having to take a stay on call. where you're having to take a breath between every word, etc. So it's just listen to your body. There's really no set pace with this. I'll put an estimate in your final search, so it might be like 10 plus. So 10 minutes and slower. And that's more to make sure that you're not running them too fast as opposed to running them too slow. But this will be most of your runs. You're just building that aerobic engine. Then we have our threshold or tempo pace. This is to improve endurance by increasing your ability to endure a greater intensity for a longer period of time. This is what I'll say a lot of times, like comfortably uncomfortable. 60 minutes. Is that 80, 90? Y'all not starting off with super intense. So this is one of now my favorite paces to do. Hold on, it says it's trying to connect, so I'm hoping it connects. Okay, I think we're back. This is one of my favorite paces to train now that I'm doing it correctly. In high school and college, I think I ran these a little too fast. That was almost really like a race effort that by the end of a threshold or tempo workout, I just felt like I was gassed. And that's not how you should feel with these. They should have that comfortably uncomfortable that you could go a little longer. An example would be like 3 by a mile at threshold pace with 1 minute rest. So there's short rest in between. Or 20-minute tempo, which we won't do over the summer, just again, because it's so hot, we'll break it up a little bit more. But short rest, a little bit longer efforts. We might even do like, I don't know, some 400, 600 Ks at tempo with short rest or at threshold pace. Yeah, I use them interchangeably just to improve that endurance without cooking you. But these should not be like max effort. You're laying down on the floor in between. Then we have our interval pace, which the goal is to stress your aerobic engine. This is the one that uses oxygen. These are close to that 98 to 100% of your heart rate max. These efforts are hard, but they're not an all-out effort. They're typically around that 3 to 5 minute range. So it might be 6 by 2 minutes with 2 minutes rest, 4 by 4 minutes with 3 minutes rest. We have a little more rest in between because it is higher intensity, but we're not going more than that 3 to 5 minutes. I think she's called over in duration for these. Come on, Kate. In duration for these. So we wouldn't do like 3 by 10 minutes at interval or something. Let me grab her. She's going to join us. Hey, you want to come talk? Okay. Here. Okay, she was done with blocks. So they're not going to be super long in duration, and then a little bit higher intensity than like that threshold pace, but you will have more rest in between them. Then we move into repetition pace. This is going to be the fastest pace that we do, is to improve your speed and economy. These are fast, but they're not so tired. But these are not necessarily hard because they're short in duration. They're typically not more than that 90 seconds. We might go up to 2 minutes, but probably not. Especially over the summer. We're looking at 200s, maybe 400s, maybe 300s, I don't know. And definitely with longer rest periods in between. The recovery needs to be long enough that each run, each time you do another one, it doesn't feel more difficult. We really don't want you losing form with these. We want really good form, and we're looking at somewhere in that like 800 to a mile pace type effort. So quicker stuff, longer recovery in between. These are really fun to do, and we're definitely going to be doing them this summer. And then recovery. I just want to touch on recovery this first week of camp to make sure that it's just in the forefront of your mind a little bit. Aerobic training is about getting oxygen to your muscles as quickly as possible. So while you're running, you're actually placing stress on your body, which is increasing the demands of your muscles, heart, and lungs. You like that? Your hair's all in your face. And then the goal of recovery is for our body to adapt to that extra stress and get ready for next time. So when we go out and run a hard effort, when we do this mile time trial that we did, that's not when we're getting better. We're creating a stress on our body that then if we recover from it, we get better. But if we keep stressing our body day after day and not recovering, we're not going to get better. So the magic is in this recovery in between the efforts. So between these runs, we need to make sure we're recovering. We'll do a coffee with coach on it, I think. Hopefully we don't have too short a time. Anyway, we'll do a coffee with coach on it because there's different types of recovery. We have recovery runs, which is like those easy runs in between, and why we want to keep them easy so that we're able to recover between them. We have active recovery, which would be maybe walking, aqua jogging, swimming, keeping it really low intensity, and you're moving. Assisted recovery would be more like those Normatec type boots, massages, something that's assisting you, the massage guns. Passive recovery kind of ties into sleep, where you're not really doing anything, but sleep is where we recover the most, and we're just laying there. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough sleep, and then also we're keeping those easy runs easy is really the whole point of that. And then here's our weekly structure that we've kind of touched on. Again, we're going to be mostly easy runs to improve that economy and general fitness. We'll have our quality workouts on Tuesday or Wednesdays, and then our long run, which has the goal of increasing endurance, more time on feet. Your body is just adapting to the demands of running. This run shouldn't be more than 30 or 40% of your overall weekly volume. So we don't want to do 2-mile runs all week and then do like an 8-mile long run because that's going to set us up for injury, illness, etc. And then how to get the most out of camp. One, prioritize workout days and come prepared to work hard. So make sure that you're hydrating during the day. Make sure you're fueling. You're controlling the controllables to set you up for that Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning workout so we can really get the most out of it. Again, I understand life happens, obviously. But control what you can control. There's obviously always going to be uncontrollables. Be intentional. This ties into, prioritizing those workout days. Be intentional that, don't do a crazy strength workout on Monday when on Tuesday we're going to have a hard run, that type of thing. Be intentional with your fueling, with your hydration throughout the day. Don't self-sabotage. Don't not eat all day, or don't eat, 30 minutes before we run if you know your stomach's not going to handle it. So be intentional, which kind of ties again into that don't self-sabotage. Harped on this, communicate. You guys are going to sick of hearing me here. Communicate and consistency. But let me know if there's anything that you need more feedback, you need something from me, let me know. If there's something you really like that I'm doing, a pacer's doing, another coach is doing, let us know so we can continue to do it. If there's a certain way you feel, let us know. The more you can communicate, the better. And then be consistent. We tied that right on in again. And then have fun. We definitely run better when we're having fun out there. Make new friends. It's a really welcoming community. We have a lot of new faces this camp. So have fun out there and you really will get the most out of it. And then I want to just wrap up with, when it comes to getting better at just about anything, realize that there is no secret. It's about putting in the work. There are no magic routines, workouts, or any of that junk that will get you better. So there's a lot of gimmicks out there, whether it's, nutritional products you can take and supplements and all those recovery tools and who knows what else at this point. Maybe it'll help a little bit. Research is usually all over the place with things like that, but really it's just about putting the work in consistently. So show up, put the work out in, and I guarantee you will get better over time. All right, guys, thank you so much. We will be at Oars and Paddles this Sunday. Coach Alex will be starting you guys. I will be in Orlando with this crazy crew celebrating the end of school, getting out on Friday. So Alex will start you guys. All of your pace groups and paces will be in. He'll have all the pacers line up behind him, let you know which pacer is pacing which group because your groups will be in colors. Oh, I need to share my phone. I'm not done yet. Hold on. One moment, please. I'm glad I said that and remembered because I want to show you guys where share screen. Yeah. Okay, let me just close. Okay, let's try this now. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I have Abe's pulled up to show you since I already put his paces in. So here's what your account should look like. On Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on if you're in the Tuesday group or the Wednesday group, you should see this 1 mile time. And if you come down here and expand it, you can see that Abe did it perfectly. He put that time trial time right in there. So you can put it as a comment or a post-workout note, just so I know where it is in there. After that's in, once I put them in, you can see I'll put a note that your training paces are in and where you can find them. So then you'll go over to Friday. This is where your training paces are. Your pace group will not have anything in it yet. That'll be later. But in that title, it'll say pace group red, pace group blue, etc. And then down in training paces, if you extend it with that downward arrow, you'll see your training paces all in there. You can also do it by going into your settings, like I think I showed you during during the welcome video. So if you go into your settings, you those 3 dots in the bottom right, and account and workout settings, and then you scroll down to zones, and you go over to pace at the top. You'll see them there. Mine are just set up differently. This is just what it auto regulates, but that you'll see easy, threshold, interval, repetition all in there. So that's how you can access those. So please get that 1 mile time in by that Friday at 5 p.m. But that's how you get it. Thanks for kicking me off. We'll do it off next time. But we'll see everybody on Sunday, and hope you guys are having